Hi friends, welcome to Talent Sprint. In this session, we are going to learn about allegations or mixtures. The problems from this topic are based on mixtures that can be obtained by combining two same or different commodities. For example, when we mix two different qualities of rice or two different varieties of rice to get a new mixture is one case. And the second case here can be mixing milk with water to get a mixture of milk and water. Now, as you have seen here, in the first case, the two commodities were same. Rice of quality 1 was mixed with rice of quality 2 to obtain a new variety of rice. Whereas in the second case, we have mixed two completely different items like milk with water to obtain a mixture of milk and water. The problems from this topic involves the theory of ratio and proportions. And at times the basics of percentages and profit and loss may also be required. The most important part of this topic is allegation rule, which enables us to find out the ratio in which the two commodities have to be mixed to obtain the given mixture. And this may be based on the price of the commodities and mixture or the strength of the two commodities and the mixture formed. The allegation rule basically states that the quantities of the two commodities are inversely proportional to the difference of their cost with the mean cost, which is nothing but the cost of the mixture. Let us understand the allegation rule in detail before we look at the different questions. Now, as given here, allegation is a rule that enables us to find out the ratio in which two or more ingredients at a given price or value or strength must be mixed to produce a mixture at a given price or value or strength. So when two different qualities of rice, for example, at a given price have to be mixed to obtain a mixture at a given price, then the allegation rule will help us to find out the ratio in which the two qualities have to be mixed. The equation that can be used is as shown here. The quantity of the cheaper quality of rice by the quantity of the dearer quality of rice will be equal to the cost of the dearer quality minus the cost of the mixture or the mean cost divided by the cost of the mixture minus cost of the cheaper quality of rice. So as you can see from the given equation, the quantity of cheaper quality is inversely proportional to the difference of the cheaper quality cost and the mixture cost. Likewise, the quantity of dearer quality is also inversely proportional to the difference of the dearer cost and the mixture cost. So this equation can be used to find out the ratio of the quantities when the cost of the two quantities, that is the cheaper cost and the dearer cost, and the cost of the mixture, which is nothing but the mean cost, is given to us. Next comes the pictorial representation of allegation rule. That is, the rule or the equation that we have learnt here can be pictorially represented as shown on the board. According to which, when we take the cost of the dearer quality, the cost of the cheaper quality, and the cost of the mixture in this format, the cross differences will give us the ratio in which the two quantities have to be mixed together. Right? That is, cost of dearer minus the cost of the mixture should be taken on this side, and cost of cheaper difference the cost of the mixture should be taken on the other side. The ratio of these two is nothing but the ratio in which the two quantities have to be mixed together to obtain the given mixture. Let us take a simple example to understand the application and the usage of allegation rule. Let's say we have got two qualities of wheat. Quality 1 at 24 rupees per kg and the second quality is at 33 rupees per kg. So we have got a cheaper quality which is at 24 rupees per kg and a dearer quality which is at 33 rupees per kg. Now when these two qualities of wheat are mixed in a certain ratio, we get a mixture which is at 27 rupees per kg. Right? So cost of cheaper, cost of dearer, and the cost of the mixture or the mean cost. Now the question is, in what ratio should we mix these two qualities so that we obtain a mixture at 27 rupees per kg? Now as per the allegation rule, we just have to take the cross differences to get the ratios. Now 33 difference 27 or 33 minus 27 is 6 and 24 difference 27 is equal to 3. Now this is nothing but the ratio in which the two qualities have to be mixed together. 6:3 is equal to 2:1. So we can say that when a quality of wheat which is at 24 rupees per kg is mixed with another quality of wheat at 33 rupees per kg, in the ratio of 2:1 we get a mixture which will be at 27 rupees per kg. So this is the basic application of alligation rule, and same can also be obtained using the given formula, right? For example, cost of bearer, this is nothing but 33 minus cost of the mixture is 27 divided by cost of the mixture 27 minus cost of the cheaper quality of wheat is 24. This is again 33 minus 27, which is 6. 27 minus 24 is 3. So 6 by 3 is equal to 2:1. So either we can use the equation or the pictorial representation of the alligation rule to solve the questions based on mixtures. Let us now look at model 1 from this topic of alligations or mixtures, where we shall deal with questions based on simple mixtures. A simple mixture is the one that is obtained by combining two same or different ingredients. For example, wheat mixed with wheat to obtain a mixture of wheat, or milk mixed with water to obtain a mixture of milk and water. Let's look at the first example. Now the question says, how much of salt at 42 paisa per kg must be mixed with 25 kg of salt at 24 paisa per kg so that a profit of 25% is obtained on selling the mixture at 40 paise per kg. As you can see here, the question is based on combination of two different varieties of salt to obtain a mixture at a given price. Now the first quality of salt here is at 42 paise per kg, and as you can see, it is mixed with 25 kg of another variety of salt which is at 24 paise per kg. And on mixing these two varieties of salt, we can get a profit of 25% by selling the mixture at 40 paise per kg. So we need to find out how much of salt at 42 paise per kg. So what should be the quantity of salt at this price which has to be mixed with 25 kg of salt. Understand, the quantity of the cheaper quality of salt is given, and we have to find out the quantity of the dearer quality of salt, which is again based on finding out the ratio. Once we get the ratio of the two quantities, we can easily find out one of the quantities when the other quantity is given to us. So let's work out and find out what is the ratio in which the two qualities or the two varieties of salt have to be mixed together. But one important point that we need to understand here is that the selling price of the mixture is given, that is 40 paise per kg. Remember, whenever we apply alligation rule, it is based on the cost price of all the ingredients, right? Cost price of type 1, the cost price of type 2, and the cost price of mixture. We cannot use 42, 24 and 40 in the alligation rule, because these two here are cost price and this here is the selling price, right? Everything should be in terms of cost price. So we'll first find out the cost price of the mixture from the given selling price and the profit. So here we know that the profit is 25% and the selling price of the mixture is 40 paise per kg. And as we have discussed in the introduction here, we may need some basics of percentages and profit and loss. So if you apply your basic knowledge of profit and loss, you will be able to find out the cost price from the given profit percentage and the selling price. So profit here is 25% and the selling price is 40 paise per kg. 40 paise per kg. Now by using these two values, we can say that the cost price will be equal to 32 paisa per kg. Cost price is going to be 32 paisa per kg. I am not discussing the complete calculation there. You will be able to do that based on the knowledge that you have gained in the topic of profit and loss, right? Simple calculation. Selling price is 40 paisa, profit is 25%. We very well know that if the profit is 25%, the selling price will be 125% of cost price. So 125% of cost price is 40. What will be the cost price? We'll get it as 32 paise per kg. Now we know that the cost price of the mixture is 32 paise per kg. And now that we have obtained the cost price of the mixture, we can apply the alligation rule. So let's apply the alligation rule. The cost price of the dearer is 42. the cost price of the cheaper quality of salt is 24 and the cost price of the mixture is 32. Now when we take the cross differences, what do we get? 24 difference 32. See, never take negative value here. It is a difference, right? So we have to take the positive differences. So 24 difference 32 is 8 is to 42 difference 32, right? 42 minus 32 is 10. So we can say that the ratio in which the two qualities have to mix together is 8 is to 10, which is nothing but 4 is to 5. 8 is to 10 is equal to 4 is to 5. So the ratio in which the two qualities of salt must be mixed together to obtain the given quality of mixture is 4 is to 5. Now based on this ratio, we can find out the quantity of the cheaper quality of salt. Now we can say that the quantity of dearer quality of salt is to quantity of cheaper quality of salt should be in what ratio? 4 is to 5. You have to be careful while taking up this ratio. It is not cheaper is to dearer. It should be taken as dearer is to cheaper, because we have taken dearer cost first and then the cheaper cost. So the ratio will also be in the same order. Dearer is to cheaper quantity ratio. So quantity of dearer is to quantity of cheaper is 4 is to 5. We also know that this quantity of cheaper quality of salt is 25 kgs. So this part here is given to us 25, and we have to find out the quantity of dearer quality of salt. So by substituting the value 25 here, we get quantity of dearer by 25 kgs will be equal to 4 by 5. So from this we can say the quantity of dearer quality of salt, this gets cancelled 5 times and 5 into 4 is 20. So this should be 20 kg. So the quantity of the dearer quality of salt, that is 42 paisa per kg, should be 20 kgs. So this when mixed with 25 kg of salt, which is at 24 paisa per kg, we get the given mixture, which is sold at 40 paisa per kg to obtain a profit of 25%. So this is how we can solve the questions based on mixtures using the alligation rule as shown here. Please note that this question can also be answered by using the equation that we have discussed in the introduction part. So either you can use the equation or the pictorial representation of the alligation rule to get the required answer. Let us now take the second example from model 1 of alligations or mixtures. The question here is, a merchant has 840 kg of rice, part of which he sells at 9% profit and the rest at 16% profit. And he gains 12% profit on the whole. So what is the quantity sold at 16% profit? So a simple question which says total quantity is 840 kgs, some part of it is sold at 9% profit and the remaining part, the rest of it, is sold at 16% profit. Now on the whole, on the total 840 kgs, the profit obtained is 12%. So what is the quantity that was sold at 16% profit? The simple solution for this question can be obtained by applying the alligation rule on the given profit percentages. If you understand the question here, the complete 840 kgs is like a mixture of two parts of rice. The first part is sold at 9%, second at 16%. And when you combine both the parts, we get the whole of the mixture which has been sold at 12%. So we can simply apply the alligation rule on the given profit percentages and find out the ratio of the two parts. Now, as we know, the first part is sold at 9% profit. So 9. The second part is sold at 16% profit. So 16 is the value here, and the mixture or the whole of the rice is sold at 12% profit. So the value for the mixture can be taken as 12. Now, by taking the cross differences, we get the ratio. So 16 difference 12 is 4 and 9 difference 12 is 3. So the ratio in which these two parts have been mixed to obtain the total 840 kgs is 4 is to 3. Now from the question we are required to find out the quantity which is sold at 16% profit. Now if you look at it, the quantity which is sold at 16% profit is 3 parts as against 4 parts which has been sold at 9% profit, right? So we can say Q1 is to Q2, or the quantity sold at 9% profit is to quantity sold at 16% profit equals to 4 is to 3. Yes or no? This is at 9% profit, 4 parts, and 16% profit is 3 parts. Now, the quantity which has been sold at 16% profit will be equal to 3 parts out of total 4 plus 3, 7, multiplied by the total quantity, which is 840 kgs. This is the basics of ratio and proportions which you have discussed in that topic. So 3 by 7 into 840. 7 goes 120 times into 3 gives you 360. So we can say 360 kg of rice was sold at 16% profit. So this is how we can apply alligation rule for solving questions based on mixtures. We also need to note that in some cases, instead of giving the mean value, the individual values are given along with the ratio, and we are required to find out the mean value, which again can be done by using the alligation rule or by using the equation that we have discussed in the introduction part of this video. For example, let's assume that here the profit is not given. The profit obtained on the whole is not mentioned, right? So that has to be calculated. Let us take it as M. But the ratio is given. The ratio of the two quantities is 4:3. So how do we obtain the profit obtained on the overall mixture? That can be done as follows. Remember, always the mean value will be in between the two given values, right? This is like the mean cost, right? The cost of the mixture. It should always be between the cheaper cost and the dearer cost, or between the two values. So here the mean value is going to be between 16 and 9. It will be less than 16, but it will definitely be more than 9. Now we know that 4:3, 4 by 3 is equal to, now how do we obtain 4? 16 difference M, 16 minus M, because M is lesser than 16. And how do we get this 3 here? The difference of 9 and M. But here M will be more than 9. So it can be taken as M minus 9. Right? 4 by 3, the ratio here will be equal to 16 difference M by 9 difference M. 16 difference M by 9 difference M. But we take this as 16 minus M because we know M is less than 16, and the denominator will be taken as M minus 9 because M will be more than 9, as M always falls between the two given values. Now by cross multiplication, we can find out the value or the profit on the overall mixture. So when we cross multiply, we get 4M minus 36 will be equal to 48 minus 3M. So this gives 4M plus 3M, 7M will be equal to 36 plus 48, which is 84. So M will be equal to 12, which is 12%, because anyway these two values are in terms of percentage. So this also will be a percentage value. So M, that is the profit on the mixture, will be equal to 12%. So this is how we can either find out the ratio or the mean value, which can be mean price or mean strength or mean value, by using the alligation rule. Let us now look at the second model from this topic of alligations and mixtures, where we shall deal with questions based on compound mixture. A compound mixture is, in simple terms, a combination of two simple mixtures, or a combination of a simple mixture with one of the other ingredients. For example, let's say we have a milk solution which has got milk and water in some proportion. Now when this milk solution is mixed with pure milk, or if it is mixed with pure water, we get a compound mixture of milk and water. The other case here is when two different milk solutions are mixed together to form a new milk solution. For example, we have milk solution 1 which has got milk and water in some proportion, and we have another milk solution 2 which has got milk and water in some other proportion. Now when these two milk solutions are combined together, what we get is called a compound mixture. So let's look at the first example from model 2. The question here is, an alloy of zinc and tin contains 35% of zinc by weight. What quantity of zinc must be added to 400 pounds of this alloy such that there is 60% of zinc by weight in the final mixture? And as you can see, this question is based on a case of compound mixture. As we can see here, we have an alloy of zinc and tin that contains 35% of zinc by weight. Now it is obvious that in a certain mixture, if 35% is zinc, the remaining 65% has to be the other component, which is tin here. So basically the strength of the two components is given to us. 35% is zinc and the remaining 65% is tin. Now what quantity of zinc must be added to 400 pounds of this alloy? This alloy here is nothing but the first alloy of zinc and water. So what are we adding here? We are adding some zinc. What quantity of zinc must be added to 400 pounds of this alloy? So clearly the compound that is being added is only zinc, pure zinc. So we can say the strength of zinc in this particular item is 100% because it is only zinc without any component of tin. So 100% of zinc is being mixed with a alloy of zinc and tin which has got 35% of zinc. So how much of this must be added to 400 pounds of this alloy such that there is 60% of zinc by weight in the final mixture. So we get a final mixture of zinc and tin in which the weight of zinc has to be 60%. So let's look at how can we answer this question using the alligation rule. Now you know what happens in an alligation rule. We take type 1 value, the type 2 value and the mixture value, right? It can be some strength or cost. As we have seen in model 1, we have taken cost of 2 different varieties of rice. Here it is going to be on strength because we know the strength of zinc in the first mixture. The strength of zinc in the second mixture is nothing but 100% because it is pure zinc, and the strength of zinc in the final mixture is 60%. So when we take these 3 strengths in the given format and find out the cross differences, we get the quantities of type 1 and type 2. So T1 and T2 is nothing but the 2 types of mixtures that we have. Now let's go by the strength of zinc. What we are going to do here is substitute the strength of zinc in these 3 places. So strength of zinc in type 1 is 35%. The strength of zinc in type 2, understand, because type 2 is pure zinc, its strength will be 100%. Right? So we can say the strength of zinc in type 2 is 100%. And in the final mixture, the strength of zinc is 60%. So when we take the cross difference, what do we get? 100 difference 60 is 40 and 60 difference 35, or 35 difference 60 is 25. So the ratio of quantity 1 and quantity 2 will be 40:25, which is nothing but 8:5. Now we are actually supposed to find out what quantity of zinc, the 100% zinc, what quantity must be added to the first alloy. So this Q2 has to be calculated. We know that Q2 is 5 parts, Q1 is 8 parts. But Q2 in terms of weight has to be calculated, where Q1 is equal to 400 pounds, right? The quantity of first alloy is 400 pounds. So we can say Q1 by Q2 equals to 8 by 5 from the ratio, and Q1 is 400. So take this 400 here, and by simplifying this expression we get Q2 as 50 times 5, 250 pounds. So 250 pounds of zinc must be added to that alloy so that we can obtain the final mixture with 60% of zinc concentration. So this is one question where we have seen the strength of the ingredients of the mixture is given to us. Either the strength of zinc may be given or the strength of the other component, that is tin, may also be given, right? Now before we move on to the next question, one important point which I would like to mention here is that we can either take the strength of zinc in finding out the ratio, or we can also work on the strength of the other component, which is tin here. Remember, the final answer obtained would be same. For example, by taking the strength of zinc, we have got the ratio as 8:5. Let us see what will be the ratio if we work on the strength of the other component, that is tin here. So let me just clear this final part. You should remember that the answer is 250, right? We're just trying to verify the ratio with the strengths of tin. So if 35% is zinc, the remaining 65% will be tin. So this is 65%. Now we are adding pure zinc to type 1. If we are adding pure zinc, what will be the concentration of tin? 0. So this should be taken as 0. And in the final mixture, we know that 60% is zinc. So remaining 40% has to be water. Now let's see what will be the ratio if we take the cross difference. So 0 difference 40 is 40 and 65 difference 40 is 25. So we get again 8:5. So the point to be noted here is that either we can work with the concentration of zinc or we can work with the concentration of tin. The final answer obtained will be same. One important point that I would like to draw your attention to before we move on to the next example is that when you are solving questions based on model 2, that is based on compound mixtures, we should apply the alligation rule in such a way that we work on only one of the ingredients. Remember that all the values T1, T2 and M must be for the same ingredient. That is, either take everything for zinc or everything for tin. You cannot combine these two while applying the alligation rule, right? You cannot take 35% of zinc in type 1 and here we cannot use 0% of tin in type 2, right? Remember, you should work only on one of the ingredients, either the first ingredient, which is zinc in our case, or only the second ingredient, which is tin in the given case. Let us now take the second example from model 2 of alligations and mixtures. The question here is, two vessels A and B contains mixtures of milk and water, right? So there are two vessels, each contains mixture of milk and water. The ratio of milk and water in these two vessels is 5:2 and 8:5 respectively. So the ratio of milk to water in vessel A is 5:2 and that in vessel B is 8:5. So in what ratio must these mixtures be mixed to form a new mixture? So we are getting a new mixture now which contains milk and water in 9:4 ratio. So as you can see here, this question is based on the case of compound mixture. We have got two different milk solutions. The first one has milk and water in the ratio of 5:2 and the second one has got milk and water in the ratio of 8:5. And when these two mixtures are mixed, we get a new mixture in which the milk and water ratio is 9:4. And we are required to find out the ratio in which the two mixtures have to be mixed so that we can get the final mixture of 9:4 ratio. This question again can be answered using the alligation rule. And we can apply the rule to the strengths of milk or to the strengths of water in the three different mixtures, that is type 1, type 2 and the final mixture. Now here we know that the ratio of milk to water in type 1 or in vessel A is 5:2. So the strength of milk in the first vessel A can be taken as 5 parts out of total 5 plus 2, 7 parts. Likewise, in the second one, the ratio of milk to water is 8:5. So we can say that the strength of milk in vessel B is 8 parts out of total 8 plus 5, 13 parts. And in the final mixture, the ratio is 9:4. So the strength of milk in the final mixture will be equal to 9 parts out of total 13 parts. So these are the strengths of milk in vessel A, vessel B and in the final mixture. So by applying alligation rule to these three strengths, we can find out the ratio of the quantities. The same can also be done by using the strengths of water, right? You can either work on the strengths of milk or work on the strengths of water to get the final ratio of quantities. So let's go ahead with the strengths of milk. So in type 1 it is 5/7, type 2 for vessel B it is 8/13 and in the final mixture the strength is 9/13. So as you can compare, here we have got the strengths of milk in terms of fractions, whereas in example 1 where we have discussed a question on zinc and tin alloy, the strengths were given in terms of percentage. So the strength or the value can be given either in terms of ratio, we can get the individual fractions, or it can be directly given in terms of percentages. So we can simply work on the strengths and apply the alligation rule to get the ratio. So by taking the cross differences here, we get the final answer. So this difference will be 9/13 minus 8/13 is to, the cross difference here can be taken as 5/7 minus 9/13. Now let's simplify this part. Here 13 is the LCM, so 9 minus 8/13 is to 7 and 13, the LCM is 91. So 7 goes 13 times, 13 5 is 65 and 13 goes 7 times, 7 into 9 is 63. So the final answer will be 9 minus 8/13, that is 1/13 is to 2/91. So 13 again goes 7 times here. So finally it can be taken as 7:2. So the ratio in which the two mixtures of vessel A and vessel B must be mixed is 7:2. So 7:2 is the final answer for this question. The same answer can also be obtained by using the strengths of water. So for example, here if the strength of milk in vessel is 5/7, the strength of water would be 2/7, the remaining part of it. The strength of water in vessel B will be 5/13, 1 minus 8/13, or 5 parts out of 13 parts. And in the final mixture, the strength of milk is 9/13. So the strength of water would be 4/13. So either work only on the strengths of milk or the strengths of water in the three types of mixtures, apply the alligation rule to find out the required answer, 7:2. The other point which I would like to mention here is about the general method of answering these questions. Here we have seen in model 1 and model 2 that alligation rule gives us the ratio in which the two quantities have to be mixed. But understand that these questions can also be answered without using the alligation rule. Let's solve this question here without using the alligation rule. Now, if we do not apply alligation rule, then how do we get the required answer? Let's assume that the quantity of vessel A is Q1 and quantity of vessel B is Q2. All we need to do here is balance the total quantity of milk in vessel A and vessel B with the total quantity of milk in the final mixture. Now we know that in vessel A the strength of milk is 5/7. So we can say the quantity of milk in vessel A is 5/7 into Q1 plus the quantity of milk in vessel B will be 8/13 into Q2. This should be equal to the total quantity of milk in the final mixture. Now in the final mixture the strength of milk is 9/13. 9/13. What will be the total quantity of the mixture? Q1 plus Q2, because we are taking Q1 as a quantity of vessel A and Q2 as a quantity of vessel B. These two are mixed together. So the quantity of the final mixture will be Q1 plus Q2. Now even this equation can be simplified to find out the ratio of Q1 and Q2. So this is 5Q1/7 plus 8Q2/13 equals to 9Q1/13 plus 9Q2/13. So if we try to take Q1 on one side and Q2 on the other side, we get 5/7 Q1 minus 9/13 Q1. This will be equal to 9/13 Q2 minus 8/13 Q2. Now by simplifying this, 5/7 minus 9/13, again the same simplification. 91 is LCM, so this goes 13 times. 65 minus 7 times is 63. We get 2/91 into Q1 equals to, here we get 1/13 into Q2. So finally Q1/Q2 can be taken as 91/13 into 2. So 13 goes 7 times. So here the ratio is 7/2. So as you can see here, the question can also be answered without using alligation rule by balancing the quantity of milk in vessel A and vessel B with that in the final mixture. Likewise, even the previous example 1 and the question that we have covered in model 1 can also be solved by framing a simple equation instead of using the alligation rule. So this makes it clear that alligation is only a method of answering questions based on mixtures, right? It is a different way in which we can answer the questions based on mixtures using the pictorial representation, right? T1, T2, M and the cross differences to get the final ratio. So based on your convenience, you can either go by the equations or you can apply alligation rule to find out the required answers. Let us now take the third example from model 2 of alligations and mixtures, which is based on the case of compound mixture. The question here is, a can contains mixtures of two liquids A and B in the ratio 7:5. When 9 liters of the mixture is drawn off and replaced with liquid B, the ratio of A and B becomes 7:9. So what was the initial quantity of liquid A in the can? So we are required to find out the initial quantity of liquid A in the can from the given data. If you try to understand the question, there is a can which contains two types of liquids. It has got a mixture of two types of liquids A and B and the ratio is 7:5. Now out of this mixture, 9 liters of the mixture is drawn off. What does it mean? 9 liters of the mixture is removed and 9 liters of liquid B is added back because it has been replaced with liquid B. So whatever quantity of mixture we have removed, the same has been substituted back by liquid B. So 9 liters of mixture is removed and 9 liters of only liquid B is added, 100% of liquid B. Then the ratio of A and B becomes 7:9. So finally in the mixture the ratio becomes 7:9. And from this data we are supposed to find out the initial quantity of liquid A. Now this question here can also be solved using alligation rule. But to do that, we have to first understand the question in a different way. That is, we know that there is a can which has got A and B in the ratio of 7:5. The ratio is 7:5. Let us assume that the quantity of this can is Q liters. Now from the question we know that out of this Q liters of mixture, 9 liters of mixture is removed and 9 liters of liquid B is added back, pure liquid B, 100% of B is added back. Now understand that when 9 liters of mixture is removed, we get both A and B in that 9 liters and the ratio of A and B will be 7:5. After removal, we are adding pure liquid B. So that pure liquid B is our second mixture, let us assume, right? B, 100%. And how much is the quantity? 9 liters is the quantity. But the point is, the alligation of these two or the mixture of these two is giving us the final mixture in which the ratio of A is to B is 7:9. Now understand friends that we cannot take this as Q liters. the initial quantity or the quantity of type 1 as q liters, because out of this q liters 9 liters of mixture was removed. So when applying the alligation rule, we must consider this quantity to be q minus 9. So instead of assuming that there was q liters of that mixture, we are assuming there is only q minus 9 liters of the mixture, because 9 liters has been removed, and the ratio will not get affected, because if 9 liters is removed, that 9 liters will have A and B in the ratio 7:5. The remaining q minus 9 liters will also have A and B in the ratio 7:5. So now, instead of considering the question to be a removal and replacement case, we can take it as a pure alligation case, pure mixture case. So we have initially a mixture of quantity q minus 9, which has got A and B in the ratio 7:5, to which 9 liters of pure B is added, 100% of B is added. Then this gives us a final mixture. This is the final mixture in which A and B, the ratio is 7:9. So we can now work on either the strengths of A in all the 3 mixtures or the strength of B in all the 3 mixtures, and apply the alligation rule to get the ratio of the quantities q1 is to q2. Remember that q1 is q minus 9 and q2 is equal to 9. Now let's apply the alligation rule to the strength of liquid A. Now what is the strength of liquid A in q1? 7 out of 12 parts, 7 by 12. What is the strength of liquid A in q2, the second mixture? There is no liquid A here, so it can be taken as 0. And what is the strength of liquid A in the final mixture? 7 by 7 plus 9, 16. So let's apply the alligation rule to this strength of A. So 0 difference 7 by 16 will give us 7 by 16 is 2. This will be 7 by 12 minus 7 by 16. So on simplification, we get 7 by 16 is 2. This can be taken as 48. LCM is 48. So 4 times and 3 times. So finally we will get 7 into 4, 28, minus 7 into 3, 21. 28 minus 21 is 7. So the ratio here is 7 by 16 is to 7 by 48. Or further simplification will give us 1 is to 1 by 3, which can be taken as 3 is to 1. So clearly the ratio in which these two have to mix together, that is q minus 9 and 9 have to be mixed together, is 3 is to 1. So we can say q minus 9 by 9 equals to 3 by 1, from which q will be equal to 27 minus 27 plus 9, that is 36. So clearly the initial quantity of the can, we have assumed it to be q. So initial quantity of the can is 36 liters, right? Out of which 9 liters is removed. So q minus 9, 27 liters, right? So that's the idea. So we have now got the final quantity or the initial quantity of the can, 36 liters. The question says, what was the initial quantity of liquid A in the can? The total quantity is 36 liters and I know the ratio is 7:5. So I can say that the quantity of liquid A initially will be equal to 7 parts out of 12 parts multiplied by 36. So this goes 3 times into 7 will give us 21. So the final answer for this question will be 21 liters. So this is how a question that is based on removal and replacement of a mixture can be solved, by assuming the initial quantity of the can as q liters, and then this drawing of some part of the mixture can be neglected or can be compensated by taking the quantity of mixture 1 as q minus 9, because 9 liters has been removed. So that's one mixture that we have. Q minus 9 liters is the quantity in the ratio 7:5. This has been, instead of assuming replaced with liquid B, we are taking it as addition of liquid B. So our second mixture is pure B, 100% of B, and the quantity is 9 liters. By adding these two, we get a mixture. A is to B, the ratio is 7:9. So alligation rule can be applied to these strengths, which will give us the quantity Q. Once we get the quantity Q, we can find out the initial quantity of liquid A or liquid B as per the requirement of the question. Let us now take the third model from the topic of alligations and mixtures, which is based on the concept of removal and replacement of a given liquid with some other liquid for a given number of operations. Let's understand the statement first. Now the statement here is, let a vessel contain A liters of milk from which B liters is withdrawn and replaced with water. If this operation of removal and replacement is performed n times, then the quantity of milk left in the vessel after n operations will be equal to A into 1 minus B by A whole to the power of n. So as you can see here, we have a vessel which contains A liters of milk. So the liquid that we have here is milk and the quantity is A liters. Now out of this A liters of milk, B liters is withdrawn. So B liters is withdrawn, removed and replaced with water, replaced with equal quantity of water. So if you are removing B liters of milk, we put back B liters of water. Now this operation of removal and replacement, removing B liters of milk and replacing with water, is performed n times. Then the quantity of milk left in the vessel after n operations will be equal to A into 1 minus B by A whole to the power of n. Let us understand the reason behind using this compounding formula. The point here is, initially the vessel contains A liters of pure milk without any water in it. Now out of this A liters, as the statement says, B liters is withdrawn, so B liters of milk is removed and it is replaced with B liters of water. So after the first operation, the vessel which initially contained A liters of milk has now got a mixture of milk and water. And now when we try to remove B liters from it, we cannot get pure milk, we will get a mixture of milk and water. So we will remove B liters of mixture of milk and water and replace with B liters of pure water. And this operation is repeated n times. So that is the reason when we have to find out the quantity of milk left out in the complete mixture after n operations, we can simply use this formula, A into 1 minus B by A whole to the power of n, to get the required answer, where A is the initial quantity of milk or the quantity of vessel and B is the amount of milk which is being removed and replaced with water in the first instance, and from the second instance onwards B becomes the amount of mixture which is being removed and replaced with pure water, and n is the number of operations. The other point here is, in our case we have taken a case of milk and water, but it can be any type of liquid. For example, let's say initially we have A liters of alcohol, out of which B liters is removed and replaced with water, and so on. The operation is continued for n times. So there again the formula can be taken as A into 1 minus B by A whole to the power of n. So whatever be the type of liquid, always we can use this formula to get the final quantity of milk in the mixture after n operations. Let us now take the first example from model 3 of alligations and mixtures, which is based on the removal and replacement concept. The question here is, a container has 40 liters of wine. From this container, 4 liters of wine is taken out and replaced with water. This process is repeated 2 more times. What will be the final quantity of water in the container? As you can see here, initially we have 40 liters of wine, out of which 4 liters is taken out and replaced with water. And this operation or this process is repeated 2 more times. So that means this removal and replacement has taken for a total 3 times. Initially it was done once and then repeated 2 more times. So total 3 times. What will be the final quantity of water in the container? Now understand, from the formula that we have discussed, we can find out the final quantity of wine. Initially the quantity of wine is 40 liters. So what is the final quantity of wine? It can be taken as A of 1 minus B by A whole to the power of n. In our case, A is equal to 40, B is equal to 4 and n is equal to 3, because the operation has been performed 3 times. But the formula will give us the final quantity of wine, not the water. But once we get the final quantity of wine, we can find out the final quantity of water by taking the difference from 40 liters. So let's understand what will be the final quantity of wine in the container after 3 operations. So final quantity of wine can be taken as A into 1 minus B by A whole to the power of n. So this will be equal to 40, because A is 40, 1 minus B by A, which is 4 by 40 whole to the power of n. N here is 3, because we have performed this operation 3 times. So on simplification, we get the value as 40 into 1 minus 4 by 40, or this is nothing but 1 by 10. So 1 minus 1 by 10 is 9 by 10. 9 by 10 whole to the power of 3. So this will be equal to 40 into 9 cube by 10 cube. What is 9 cube? 729. So 729 into 4, right? Let's multiply with 4 first. 729 into 4 will be 2800, plus 29 into 4 is 116. So 2916. So this will give us 2916 into
See, we have multiplied with 4, but 1 0 is extra there. So multiplying by 10 divided by 10 cube is 1000. So zeros anyway get cancelled. We are left with 2916 by 100, which will be equal to 29.16 liters. So we can say that the final quantity of wine is equal to 29.16 liters. But the question says find out the final quantity of water. So final quantity of water can be taken as, see, the total quantity of vessel is 40 liters. Out of these 40 liters, 29.16 is wine. So 40 minus 29.16 will give us the quantity of water. So this can be taken as 40 minus 29.16, which will be equal to 10.84 liters. So the final quantity of water in this vessel is going to be 10.84. that is nothing but 40 minus 29.16. So this is how the idea is, use the formula A of 1 minus B by A whole power n to find out the questions based on removal and replacement. Let us now take the fourth module from the topic of alligations or mixtures, where we should look at some miscellaneous questions which can also be answered using the alligation rule. Let's look at example number 1. The question here is, Deepak has some goats and some hens. The total number of heads is 90 and the total number of feet is 248. What is the number of goats? Now this is a very simple question which can be solved using two linear equations in terms of number of goats and number of hens. Let us assume that the number of goats is G and the number of hens is H. Now from the question, the total number of heads is 90. Total number of heads is nothing but total number of animals. So we can say G plus H is equal to 90. And we also know that the total number of feet is 248. Now each goat has got 4 feet. So the number of feet of the goats there will be 4G plus each hen has got 2 feet. So 2H will be equal to 248. So we have got one equation which is the total number of heads of goats and hens, and the second one is about the total number of feet. 4G plus 2H equals to 248. Now these two linear equations in two unknowns can be solved to find out the number of goats. So that's the simple straightforward method of solving two equations to find out the required answer. Interestingly, this question can also be answered using the alligation rule, because it is all about mixture of two different types of animals. Let us assume type 1 is goats and type 2 is hens. We know that the total number of animals is 90 and the total number of feet of both the types of animals together is 248. Now this one value can be taken as the mean value or the mixture value. That is, 248 is the number of feet of all the animals together. Now alligation rule is as follows: T1, T2 and M. When we take the cross differences, we should get the ratio of the two quantities. Here the ratio of the two quantities is nothing but the ratio of the number of animals. Quantity of goats, which is nothing but number of goats, is to quantity of hens, number of hens. Now because T1 is with respect to goats, we will get G here, and T2 is with respect to hens, we will get H here. So finally, when we substitute the proper values and apply alligation rule, that is the cross differences, we will get the ratio of G is to H, and that ratio can be used along with the total number of heads, 90, to find out the number of goats. Now the question that arises is, what should come in place of T1, T2 and M? We have already learned that M will be nothing but 248, the number of feet of the mixture of animals together. So let's take M as 248. What will be coming in place of T1 and T2? Let us assume all the 90 animals are goats. T1 is with respect to goats. Let us assume all the 90 animals are goats. Now if all the 90 are goats, what should be the total number of feet? 90 into 4, because each goat has got 4 feet. So we can say T1 will be equal to 90 into 4, which is 360. What about T2? T2 is with respect to hens. If all the 90 are hens, what will be the total number of feet? Each hen has got 2 feet. So 90 into 2, 180. This will be equal to 180. Now if you really look at it, this is the number of feet for only goats, number of feet for only hens, and number of feet of the final mixture of goats and hens. When we take the cross difference of these values, we will get the ratio G is to H. So let's take the cross difference. Now 180 difference 248 is 68 is to 360 difference 248 will be 112. So we can say G is to H equals to 68 is to 112, but this can be simplified further as, I think 4 into 17 is 68 and 4 into 28 is 112. So the final ratio can be taken as 17 is to 28. So clearly we know that goats is to hens, the ratio is 17 is to 28. Now we can use this ratio 17 is to 28 with respect to 90 to find out the number of goats. The final question here is, what is the number of goats? So the number of goats G will be equal to 17 parts out of total 17 plus 28, 45. So 17 by 45 into the total number of animals is 90. So 17 by 45 into 90, 45 goes 2 times, 2 into 17 is 34. So we can say the number of goats will be equal to 34 and the remaining will be hens. 90 minus 34, 56 will be the number of hens. So this is how a simple question which can actually be answered using 2 equations can also be solved using the alligation rule. Even if you try to solve these 2 equations, you will get the same answer, G equals to 34. How do you solve these 2 equations? Multiply both the equations by 2 because we have to eliminate the number of hens. So 2 into G plus 2 into H will be equal to 180. So 2H and 2H gets cancelled. 4G minus 2G will be 2G. 2G is equal to 248 minus 180, 68. So G is equal to 34. So although this method is easier to get the required answer, but the idea here is to understand that such questions can also be answered using the alligation rule. So simply apply the alligation rule or follow the 2 equations to get the required answer. Let us now take the second example from model 4 of alligations or mixtures. The question here is, an amount of rupees 780 is distributed among 60 students of a class such that each boy gets rupees 15 and each girl gets rupees 10. What is the number of boys? Now this question again is similar to what we have seen in example 1, right? There we had 2 different types of animals, goats and hens, and here we have some number of boys and number of girls. The total number of students is 60. So we can say boys plus girls is equal to 60. Right? Let us assume the number of boys is B and the number of girls is G. So total has to be 60. The other information that we have here is the total amount was 780, which was distributed among these 60 students, such that each boy gets rupees 15 and each girl gets rupees 10. So if each boy gets rupees 15, the total amount with the boys will be 15B, 15 into B, plus the total amount with the girls, 10 into G, as each girl gets 10 rupees. And the sum of these 2 values should be equal to 780 because that was the total amount distributed among boys and girls. Now again we see that we have got 2 equations in 2 variables, B and G. We can solve these 2 equations to find out the number of boys or the number of girls as the case may be. But let us now solve this question using the alligation rule. Now, you know that type 1 here is one category of students and type 2 is the other category of students. Let us assume type 1 is boys and type 2 is girls. So how do you apply alligation rule? See, 60 here is the total number of students, boys plus girls. So that doesn't really help in the alligation rule. But what can help us in alligation rule is the amount of 780. We know that the mixture of these 60 students, the mixture of boys and girls has got total 780 rupees. Out of which there are some boys and some girls, each boy gets 15 and each girl gets 10. Now, if we assume that all the 60 students are boys, if all the 60 students are boys, what should be the total amount? 60 into 15, because each boy gets 15 rupees. 60 into 15 is 900. So this will be 900. If all the 60 students are girls, each girl gets 10 rupees. And if all the 60 are girls, what should be the total amount? 60 into 10, which is 600. But we know that the actual mixture of these boys and girls have got a total amount of 780. So the mean value or the mixture value can be taken as 780. Now take the cross difference to get the ratio of the boys is to girls. Remember, 900 is with respect to boys and 600 is with respect to girls. So the ratio will be B is to G. If we take 600 here and 900 here, we get G is to B, right? The final answer is going to be same based on what value you take first. Type 1 is boys and type 2 is girls, or type 1 is girls and type 2 is boys. That doesn't really affect our answer. Now 900 difference 780 is equal to 120, and 600 difference 780 is equal to 180. So boys is to girls is equal to 180 is to 120, which can be simplified as 3 is to 2. So we know that the ratio of boys to girls is 3 is to 2. Now we need to find out the number of boys. See, clearly there are 60 students in the class, so the total number of students is 60. So the number of boys can be taken as 3 parts out of total 5. 3 parts plus 2 parts, 5. 3 by 5 into total number of students is 60. So this will give us 12 into 3, 36. So we can say there are 36 boys in the class and the remaining 24 are girls. Even when we use the two equations and solve them, we find that the number of boys will be equal to 36. So either we can go ahead with the equations or the alligation rule to obtain the answer for such questions. Let us now take the third example from model 4 of this topic, where we shall try to solve a question on simple interest using the alligation rule. Let's look at the question first. The question says a sum of rupees 12,000 is divided into 2 parts. One part is lent at simple interest of 6% per annum and the other at 8% per annum. What is the sum lent at 8% per annum if the total interest at the end of 1 year is rupees 860? So here we know that there is a total sum of rupees 12,000 which has been split into 2 parts, divided into 2 parts. One part is lent at 6% per annum and the other part is lent at 8% per annum. So the rates of interest in 2 different schemes are 6% and 8% respectively, right? So scheme A and scheme B, let's say. Scheme A offers 6% per annum, scheme B offers 8% per annum. Now what is the sum lent at 8% per annum? That means how much was invested in scheme B if the total interest at the end of 1 year is rupees 860. So from both the schemes together, the amount that we have got is 860. The regular way of answering this question would be to write 2 equations in terms of the 2 principal amounts. Let us assume that the 2 parts are P1 and P2. P1 is the principal for scheme 1 or scheme A and P2 is the principal for scheme B. So we know that P1 plus P2 will be equal to 12,000 because the total principal is 12,000, and interest 6% of P1 plus 8% of P2 will be equal to 860 because this is the interest for 1 year. So in 1 year we get 6% on P1 and we get 8% on P2. So sum of these two values, 6% of P1 plus 8% of P2 is equal to 860. So this question has been already discussed in the topic of simple and compound interest, and you know how to answer is using the 2 equations. But let us now see how can we answer this question using the alligation rule instead of the regular equations. Here, as I've mentioned, the 2 parts are P1 and P2. So P1 plus P2 is 12,000. Now let us assume that the total 12,000 sum itself is lent at 6% per annum. There are no parts. Complete sum of 12,000 is invested at 6% per annum. So what will be the interest that we get in 1 year? 6% of 12,000, which will be equal to 120 into 6, 720, right? That is type 1 value for us. Then what is type 2? The whole sum of 12,000 is invested at 8% per annum. So we can say type 2 will be 8% of 12,000. We are not dividing into separate parts. We are assuming that the whole sum is invested at 6% and 8%. So 8% of 12,000 will be 960. So this is equal to 960. Now we also know that when the parts are individually invested at 6% and 8% respectively, the interest obtained is 860. So this 860 is the value for the mixture of P1 and P2. So we can say the mixture M is nothing but 860. Now by applying alligation rule to these 3 values, we will be able to find out the ratio of P1 and P2. So 720, 960 and 860. So 960 difference 860 is 100 and 720 difference 860 is 140. So this can be simplified as 5 is to 7, 25s and 27. So 5 is to 7. So we can say P1 is to P2. P1 is to P2 should be equal to 5 is to 7. Now what is P1? P1 is the value which has been lent at 6% per annum, right? You have to take this properly. 6% is to 8% or otherwise 8% is to 6%. So because 720 is 6% of 12,000, so we know that this is for 6%. So 6% and 8%. So that ratio is 5 is to 7, right? Now
The question here says what is the sum lent at 8% per annum. So how much has been lent at 8% per annum? 7 parts. 7 parts out of total 12 parts. So we can say, see, this is actually principal at 6% per annum and principal at 8% per annum. So the amount or the principal amount which has been invested at 8% per annum is 7 parts out of total 7 plus 5, 12 parts, into the total amount 12,000, because that 12,000 actually has been divided into the ratio of 5:7. So this comes out to be 7,000. So we can say that the amount which has been invested at 8% per annum is 7,000, and the rest of the amount, 12,000 minus 7,000, that is equal to 5,000, has been invested at 6% per annum. So we have seen the regular way of solving this question in the topic of simple and compound interest, where we use two equations and solve them to get the required answer. But here we can solve the same question using the allocation rule. So you can apply any of these two methods based on whatever is comfortable for you. So that's all from this topic of allocations and mixtures. Practice well on these questions. See you in the next session. Thank you.
There are two equal vessels. What do you mean by equal vessels? Vessels of equal quantity. The first vessel has got water and milk in the ratio 3:4, and the second vessel has got water and milk in the ratio 5:3. So let's say W by M in the first vessel is W1 by M1. Let's take it as 3/4, and W2 by M2 in the second vessel is equal to 5:3. That means whatever is the total quantity of vessel 1, that is divided in the ratio 3:4, and whatever be the total quantity of second vessel, that is divided in the ratio 5:3. But we also know that the total quantity of vessel 1 is equal to the total quantity of vessel 2. This quantity is divided in the ratio 3:4. Second quantity is divided in the ratio 5:3. Both the quantities are equal. Why? Because the question says two equal vessels, right? There are two equal vessels. Now the point to be noted here is, if you look at the vessel 1, how many parts have we got? 3 parts and 4 parts. That means total 7 parts. The vessel 2 has got how many parts? 5 parts and 3 parts, 8 parts. Now you might be wondering, when the two quantities are equal, how can the first one have 7 parts and the second one have 8 parts? Well, this is 3x and 4x, this is 5y and 3y. It's not x and x in both the cases. You getting the point? Here we use the variable x, here we use the variable y. So the point is total quantity is equal, but the first quantity or the quantity of vessel 1 is divided into 7 parts, of which 3 parts are water, 4 parts are milk. The same quantity of vessel 2 has been divided into 8 parts, of which 5 parts are water and 3 parts are milk. Now the point is, it says the two mixtures are poured into a third vessel. That means Q1 and Q2 both together are poured into a third vessel. This is Q1 plus Q2. What will be the milk to water ratio, or the ratio of water to milk, right? What will be W3 by M3 in this one. Simple point to be verified here is, because it has got 7 parts and this has got 8 parts, quantities are equal. So we should take a common multiple of 7 and 8. What is the common multiple of 7 and 8? 56. 7 and 8, the least common multiple is 56. Which means the total quantity of, or the ratio that we have in third vessel should be a multiple of 56. I hope you are able to follow. For example, 15 and 12, if you add, total how many parts? 27 parts. Not possible. 53 and 59, add 53 and 59, 112. 112 is a multiple of 56, right? 56 into 2 is 112. So this may be the possible answer. 29, 29, 29, 56, no connection. 59 and 53, yes. 59 plus 53 is 112 again, and 112 is a multiple of 56 parts here. So possible. Second and fourth are possible. So immediately I know that option A and option C cannot be the answer. See, it took so much time because I am explaining it to you. Otherwise, if I have to do it myself, I know that option B and option D are possible. And by any chance, if let's say 3 options are eliminated, without doing any calculation, we can mark the fourth one as the answer. The left out one as the answer. Here anyway, both are possible. 53 is to 59 is possible, 59 is to 53 is possible. So how do we actually solve it? Very simply. See, this Q1, 3 parts and 4 parts. This is Q2, 5 parts and 3 parts. We have to find out Q1 plus Q2. The total quantity of this one is Q1 plus Q2. What is the water and milk ratio? Just do one thing. How much is water here? 3Q1 by 7. How much is water here? 5Q2 by 8. How much is milk here? 4Q1 by 7. How much is milk here? 3Q2 by 8. That's it. Substitute in these places and you get the answer. Are you able to follow? Here we can say W1, 3Q1 by 7. How much is W2? 5Q2 by 5 plus 3, 8. Likewise, M1 and M2. Are you able to see this here? M1. How much is M1?
4q1 by 7. How much is m2? 3q2 by 8. Now we want W3 by M3. W3 is nothing but W1 plus W2 because the water in first vessel and water in second vessel are getting added in the third vessel. What is M3? M1 plus M2. That's it. So W3 by M3 is nothing but W1 plus W2 by M1 plus M2. So this will be equal to what? 3q1 by 7 plus 5q2 by 8 whole divided by how much is total water? 4q1 by 7 plus 3q2 by 8. Now you might be wondering, what do we do with this q1 and q2? See, the point is q1 is equal to q2. Both q1 and q2 are equal. So here q2 can be taken as q1 or q1 can be taken as q2. Anyway, it gets cancelled in both numerator and denominator because they are equal. Just simplify. 3 by 7 plus 5 by 8 divided by 4 by 7 plus 3 by 8. So what is the LCM here? 56 is the LCM. Even in the denominator, 56 is the LCM. Now you understand why I was saying 56 multiple. It should be multiple because of this only, right? Anyway, 7 goes 8 times, so 8 3 is 24. 8 goes 7 times, 7 5 is 35. Here 7 goes 8 times, so 8 4 is 32. And 8 goes 7 times, 7 3 is 21. 56 and 56 anyway gets cancelled. What is 24 plus 35? 59. 32 plus 21? 53. So the answer should be 59 is to 53, which is option D. Are you able to follow? So when you actually solve this in the exam, you will do only this. You don't have to write all these steps here, right? You know how much is milk in the first one, 3 out of 7. How much is milk in the second one? Water in the first one, 3 out of 7. Water in the second one, 5 out of 8. Milk in the first one, 4 by 7. Milk in the second one, 3 by 8. That add the two water quantities, two milk quantities and take the ratio. Because Q1 is equal to Q2. Right? That's the point. Otherwise, like I said, you can eliminate some of the options using the point that the common multiple of 7 parts and 8 parts is 56. So the two terms when you add in ratio, that should also be multiple of 56. Here two options are left out, so we have to do the complete solution. And anyway, complete solution also does not take much time. Okay, so that's the first one from allegations and mixtures. A trader has 40 kg of tea, so the total quantity is 40 kg. Some part of that tea was sold at 12% profit and the rest at 8% loss. On the whole, he gains 9%. So I can say on the total mixture, the profit is 9%. So just use this profit percentages. Generally, what do we do? See, type 1, type 2 mixture. You write in this form. When you take the cross differences, you will get Q1 is to Q2. The same thing has to be done here. Type 1 is nothing but that part which was sold at 12% profit. This is type 1, let's say. The rest is type 2, 8% loss. The mixture, 9% profit. So we have to substitute these values here. So see, 12% profit, we'll take 12 here in case of type 1. 8% loss, so you should take minus 8. Be careful, you should take minus 8. And on the whole, we are making 9% gain, so we should take plus 9. If it is 9% loss, take minus 9. Now you have to take the cross differences. This cross differences should give you what? Q1 is to Q2 ratio. So let's find out that ratio, Q1 is to Q2, right? We are using the same thing here. So 12 difference 9 is 3. 12 minus 9 is 3. 9 minus of minus 8. Remember, this is with a negative sign. You cannot say 9 difference 8 is 1. 9 difference minus 8. How much will that become? 17. 9 plus 8, 17. So Q1 is to Q2 ratio is 17 is 3. I can say Q1 by Q2 equals to 17 by 3. What else do we know? The total quantity is 40 kgs. So Q1 plus Q2 is 40 kgs. That's it. 40 kgs should be divided in what ratio? 17 is to 3 ratio. He is asking us to find out the quantity which was sold at 12% gain and that which was sold at 8% loss. So how much was sold at 12% gain? See, Q1 is nothing but 12% gain. Q2 is nothing but 8% loss. Right? You just need to check exactly below that. This is 12% gain, Q1. 8% loss, Q2. 3 parts. So divide that, right? 17 and 3 is total 20. So 40 kgs divided into 20 parts. Each part will be 2 kgs. So what is Q1? Q1 will be 17 by 20 into 40, which is 34 kgs. If Q1 is 34, Q2 will be 6 kgs because total 34 plus 6 must be 40 kgs. So 34 and 6, option D will be the answer. Right? So a very simple one, just substitute the values properly. Be careful, if it is a loss, you have to take negative sign. Right? On the whole, again, if it is a loss, you have to take negative sign. And accordingly take the cross differences. Gold is 19 times as heavy as water and copper is 9 times as heavy as water. The ratio in which these two metals, gold and copper, are mixed, so that the mixture that we get is 15 times as heavy as water. Options are 1 is to 2, 2 is to 3, 3 is to 2 and 19 is to 135. What do we do? So simple. Gold is 19 times as heavy as water means what? Gold is to water. The ratio is 19 is to 1.
Gold is to water, the ratio is 19:1. Copper is 9 times as heavy as water, implies copper is to water, the ratio is 9:1. 19 times, so 19 is to 1, 9 times 9 is to 1, right? Now the ratio in which these two metals are mixed, these two metals are in the gold metal and the copper metal. See, understand, it has got a mixture of water. Already there is a ratio, already we have gold which is 19 times as heavy as water and copper which is 9 times as heavy as water. Now we are mixing these two elements. What elements? What metals? Gold and copper. Okay. So in what ratio will you mix them such that the mixture that we get is 15 times as heavy as water? So let us assume that the ratio in which these two are mixed is X is to Y. Gold and copper. The ratio in which gold and copper are mixed is X is to Y. You have to find out what is X is to Y such that the mixture will be 15 times as heavy as water. Now understand, what do? You are taking X times of gold and Y times of copper. So what? So X times of gold is how much of gold do we get? 19X. And how much of copper do we get? 9Y. Divided by how much of water do we get? See, X times of gold getting. So how much of water will it consist? X. And how much of water will the second one consist? Y. This should be equal to the given ratio. What is this here? So that the mixture is 15 times as heavy as water. This is the mixture of gold and copper. You understand? This is the mixture of gold and copper. In that, how much water we get? X and Y. This should be 15 by 1. Are you able to follow? We are taking gold and copper, let's say in the ratio of 19 is to, in the ratio of X is to Y. So if you take 19 parts of gold, how much of water will come? If you take 90 X parts of gold, so X into 19, how much of water will come? X into 1. If you take Y parts of copper, if you take Y of this, you understand, this is X, this total is X quantity, this total is Y. So this will give you 19X gold, X water. This will give you 9Y copper and Y water. This is the mixture of copper and gold. That's it. This total is in the ratio of 15:1 because this mixture is 15 times as heavy as water. This is water quantity, X plus Y is water quantity. 19X plus 9Y is the gold quantity. Cross multiply to get X is to Y ratio. What happens? Cross multiply, what do we get? 19X plus 9Y equals to 15X plus 15Y. Simplify. 19X minus 15X. 4X equals to 15Y minus 9Y, 6Y. So it implies X by Y. X by Y will be equal to 6 by 4, which is 3:2. What is 3:2? Option C here is 3:2. This is one way of solving it, right? This is one way of solving it. Simple. I mean, you have to start from this step. 19X plus 9Y by X plus Y equals to 15 by Y. Alright. If you don't want to do this, just go by the answer options. All you need to do here is, we are taking gold and copper in the ratio of 3:2. Multiply their heaviness. 19 into 3, 57. 9 into 2, 18. What is 57 plus 18? 75. Now, if you have taken gold and copper in the ratio of 3:2, the water will also come accordingly in that ratio 3:2. Now, gold is 19 times as heavy as water. So, if you taken 3 parts of gold, 3 times of that, water will also be 3 times. So, this will be 3. And you are taking 2 kgs of copper, let's say. So, 9 times as heavy as water. So, 2, are you able to follow? The copper is 9 times as heavy as water. So, 9 into 2 we have already considered here. Now, 1 into 2, you have to take it here. Just check. 75 is to 5 is 15 is to 1. Satisfied or not? Yes. If you take the first option, it will not satisfy. 19 into 1, 19. 9 into 2, 18. 19 and 18, 37, right? 37. And how much is water? 1 plus 2, 3. 37 is to 3. 37 is to 3 is not 15 is to 1. Likewise, if you take second option, 19 into 2, 38. 9 into 3, 27. 38 and 27, 65. And how much is water? 2 plus 3, 5. 65 is to 5 is not 15 is to 1. So this also is eliminated. So you can either verify from the answer options, so just follow this procedure and you get the answer. Okay.